Hello, everybody.
Bonsoir
So
tout le monde.
we're back. We're expecting Sarah Larbi any minute now, and we have an exciting topic. So we're going to talk about retiring from your 9 to 5. So retiring before retirement age. So it's really cool. I guess retirement age is at. Can't wait to hear about Sarah's experience and how to plan to do it as well. So,
Yes, I think most Canadians
hey, Sarah.
almost never
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good, good. Sorry, keep going. You were talking about the topic of today. I was
Yes, that's okay.
Yeah, we're just talking about retiring from the 9 to 5 and how to plan for it. And just in our previous video, because we've been doing a live on OPM for a few days now, and we said be careful what you wish for, because you retire and then you end up working more than before. So
yes.
I think you know a little bit about that, Sarah.
Yeah, but you know what? Actually, I shouldn't say this because I don't want to jinx it, but I haven't actually been working that many hours. Like,
Good.
Yay!
well, I guess there's the right club stuff, right? Like, so like maybe like 20 hours a week, but I can't do nothing either. Like, I still have to do something because otherwise it gets boring. But you're right. There's a lot of people that leave their 9 to 5 jobs and they have longer hours.
Yes.
Like him.
Well, it depends, I mean, on your goals and stuff,
Yes.
like what you want to do.
We're in the building mode, but we'd love to hear your story, Sarah. Like you guys kind of did it around the same time.
October, and I did November.
Yeah. So how did you plan for that? What was your strategy?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I like to do for the most part is plan my financial future. But when it comes to planning for vacations, like I hate planning any vacation, so I love to go with people that love to do the planning on the vacation.
That's smart.
But when it came to leaving the 9 to 5, a lot of it was just talking to my former manager, my former boss. And originally, like I really thought that I had probably another 3 to 4 more years. But really how it all came about was last year. I was sitting on my dock, watching the boats go by and drinking my girly drinks. And I realized that this is a freaking awesome life. And why am I working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks when I could have this?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it started, and then what I did was I crunched all my financials, the cash flow from the properties, what I was bringing in, and then I realized like I'm probably good, and I'm also, what the other thing I realized is I'm missing out on some opportunities that I don't have time to.
Yes.
And it was that lost opportunity cost in addition to just saying I could live off of this at this point. And then so what I did afterwards was I reached out to Dahlia, and I must say, Matt, my spouse, I think he wanted me to quit like a year before.
Wow. Okay.
So he was like, he was there to like help and like kind of push me to the direction that I ended up leaving. But I will say, I had a really awesome team. I had a really awesome boss, and it was for a job, though it was a job. It was a really good. It was a really good job. I've left many companies in the past that had, not the culture that I wanted. This culture at Lavazza was amazing. But then it was a conversation with my mortgage broker and figuring out, okay, before I leave, what do I need to refinance in order to unlock the maximum equity that I can and to deploy enough cash. So that was, and back then it was the middle of COVID, so refinances were taking quite a while.
Yeah.
But ultimately what I did is I gave my boss 6 months notice, and then we gave the company, I think, like 3 months notice. So it gave enough time for that replacement person that took over my spot to be able to comfortably step in the role and keep going from there. And they're doing a great job. But I will tell you now that I look back at it, it's the best thing that I've ever done. A, for my mental health. B, you do real estates, for the lifestyle, and I wasn't living the lifestyle that I should have been living for the spot that I was at. So it was just, you know, it was that plus the lost opportunity cost, and then the ability that like, I'm like, okay, what do I need to refinance, and just getting myself, you know, in a position to be able to do that. And it was a no-brainer. And of course I left in the best possible terms. You know, you never want to burn any bridges.
No.
But I'll tell you that when I did leave, I was like super busy for like the 2 months afterwards. Like it was nonstop because all the meetings that I couldn't do while I was still working full time. So I'm like, I'm pushing it back to October. I'm pushing it back to November. 2 months after I left was like probably still like 60, 70-hour weeks because I had pushed everything over. Time to really create my schedule. And I don't know if you remember this, Francois, but we were meeting on Fridays at one point because I ended up taking a bunch of Fridays off. I used my vacation days to do that. You know, but then I'm like, okay, how could I re-strategize my week so that I have an office day for the right club and podcast, you know, 1 or 2 days max. And that's kind of how it all happened. And I'll tell you from there, I bought probably they're going to be 2 of my largest deals since leaving, 2 land development deals. And my relationship with Matt is so much better. Like we actually get to enjoy each other and spend time together. Because I'll tell you, it wasn't like that for probably the last 2 years prior. So, you know, definitely take care of your family along the way. But I am also like so much happier, less stressed out. You know, for those of you that may know me, and this is like, I feel like these conversations about Canada, I want to hear your story after because I'm talking a lot for the start. But I have a temper. And Matt actually got a lot of it, right? And so like that's not cool. So, you know, I will say that I haven't snapped at him since I left. Well, for many reasons, it was a great thing. So I want to hear your story now. You know, and I know you guys have, in a way, you have almost different stories. But please feel free to share your story. I'd love to hear about how Francois, you know, maybe you can start, left your 9-to-5 job.
First of all, you don't even look like somebody who has a temper.
Well, you haven't been
a really good job of hiding. A select few people see it, unfortunately.
It's the Instagram look.
So Francois one of the lucky ones since his retirement.
Awesome. Perfect.
So go for it.
For me, same idea as you. There's a lot of opportunities we were missing out on.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest one for us. When you said that, I was like, yes, the missed opportunities.
Because you see a deal, oh, I didn't have a chance to look at it. Oh, it's sold. You lose that. So that there's a big cost to that. Of course, you need to plan. We have a family, like 2 teenagers, so it's not cheap to live either. Like they want computers and this and that and cell phones and cars them. And just the food alone is not cheap.
Our son is taller than us and he eats more than the both of us.
Oh yeah. So you need to do some major planning and then lifestyle, and they want to be drive me here, drive me there. Well, not anymore right now. Now it's more like let's order this, let's order that. But
yes. But I think that missed opportunities, not just even like purchasing properties, but connecting with people.
Yeah.
Connecting with other investors. I was like, oh crap, we missed out on talking with this person, or we had an investor lined up and then he ended up investing with somebody else
because we took
too long. So I think that was like the biggest key for Francois quitting his job for us was that, and we're like, okay, we're making enough with our properties to kind of stay afloat. And I think that you just need to quit your job, otherwise we're going to pull our hair out.
Yeah, because we were like working round the clock. Like
I can't do this anymore until midnight every day, you know?
No, it was crazy. And then also just I'm a bit of a creature of habit, and I also have quite a temper. So especially she was putting up with it as well. Like
Actually, it's really funny because I wouldn't have actually pictured that either. See?
Oh man. Wow, yeah. I can get really not nice and snappy because you're too tired and it's just too much and it's not worth it anymore. Another big thing is my father. My father passed away when he was 62. So he had 10 years of retirement. So I kind of always think about that. If today was your last day, are you happy with your day? And yeah, Are you happy with what you're doing right now? Because this could be it. Like I could just fall dead right now, and yeah, that's the question I asked.
And I can't remember who I heard that one before too. If today was your last day, would you be happy with how it was spent? And if you have too many no's in a row, it's time to make changes.
Yeah, and it's so true, and you don't realize what it is costing you. And maybe we did a few things maybe differently. We adjusted a bit of our lifestyle. So I drive an old car. It's a rust bucket, but I don't care because I reduced some of my expenses to be able to afford the retirement. So I know people think abundance and all that. I agree. If I want to, I could replace it, and I will because I found out the transmission is now dead. But I'm driving it till it stalls, and then the kids will run and hide because it's shameful, and I'm sure they're ashamed that I'm saying it right now. But Jennifer drives the new car, so worst case she can pick me up. There you go. So there's things you can do to help out, even your house, like house hacking. It doesn't sound like really ritzy and nice lifestyle, but that's something we're looking at as well to adjust it.
I think it's important to know what's important to you, like what
do you
is
care
important
about?
to you. And the reason why you wanted to quit your 9-to-5 is not the same reasons for us, and not the same reasons for people that are listening. But I think that it's finding ways to get there, and then you might make a few compromises on the road, but you're probably going to be happier with the compromises that you're making anyway.
Like right now, we're going through a minimalist phase. We're getting rid of stuff. And
who's going through a minimalist phase?
Yes. But do you miss anything I've sold or given away?
No.
So that's it. We're giving away and selling stuff and making people happy. I had this scooter in the shed that I hadn't used in years because I'm a big baby. I wanted my scooter and just go around.
It was like a kid's scooter, like a scooter that you do with your
manual.
And he never used it.
But I gave it to this person. I was selling it, and then the person's like, "Oh, we don't have much money." I'm like, "Just take it." And I was so happy to do it, like not just for me, but I don't know. I got enjoyment out of it. So
the less stuff that I feel like I own, and the less clutter, the more I actually feel good, and I like my stuff that I do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the same with your job. Maybe your job is draining all your energy, and you could be earning a lot more money in other ways. Like all that creative energy does take time and space. Like with you, with your 20-hour work week, I'm sure I don't know, you have ideas and creativity that was probably gone with the 90-hour weeks.
It is. And it's the craziest thing because probably a year, I mean, before the pandemic and everything, like I don't even know if I had an hour off. Like if I had an hour off, I would likely just fall asleep.
Shaking or fall asleep.
So exhausted, right? And this is not what you do real estate for. But I will say, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Like my job wasn't 80, 90, 100 hours. Like I have worked at jobs that were that, and I left them. My job was good. It was like 40 to 50 hours. But what actually took a lot of time, I was doing a podcast, and I was doing the Right Club, and I was doing another podcast, I guess, in addition to the real estate. So I think part of it is also I was saying yes to so many things.
Yes.
On webinars, attending different events, and that's the stuff that actually filled up my schedule a lot. Like all these, networking at across the GTA basically. And I don't know how it was for you guys. I mean, even before the pandemic, now it's different because everything's on Zoom. Driving to one spot to the other, you feel like you're always on the go, even though maybe the real estate per se isn't taking that many hours.
No, it's so true. I was attending, there's a big real estate group, Oreo, amazing group as well, but their meetings went on till midnight, 6 p.m. till midnight or later. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I know a lot of people work for the government so they could take the next day off, but not me. I was in the private industry. I'm like, I have to be back at work at 7 a.m. the next day. So
well, just that, but it wasn't just that, but there's always meetups or something here, something there. So it did take up a lot of time, and now those are things that you can often do during the day.
Yeah, that's it. I have my Calendly. You use Calendly or book like a boss, I think, or something. Yeah. But it's amazing. Here's the link. Book a time with me. Bye. That's it.
Finding that you're saying, because I find right now, and I think part of it, the pandemic actually helped, even though we need to get back to normal at some point soon. But being no, there's so many things I used to be like, oh, sure, you want me to speak here? You want me to be on this podcast? Like now I'm finding that I'm just like, I'm being more picky with like my time, right? Because I'm like, okay, if I say yes to this, then I can't have a dinner with Matt, or I can't, you know, I can't just relax. So I find that I'm being just maybe more picky on like what I actually agree to do and show up on. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's a huge principle is by saying yes to something, you're saying no to something. And by saying no to something, you're saying yes to something. So I know it's very basic. Jennifer's probably
but I also find, no, I think that's a good point. I also find that sometimes you just choose more quality connections. Like sometimes we'll just connect with a couple because we like to connect with other couples that are investing because we're a couple that invest. So I think that it's kind of like you choose what you're going to spend your time doing instead of just
yes, and then you're like drained, and then you're texting while driving and listening to something, and your kids are the crazy lifestyle. So that's one huge thing the pandemic has forced everybody to really pause and slow down. Unless you're in healthcare, then probably not. Well, depending what you do, but for most people, you had to slow down, make some choices, and I think that part in automation, people are now more open to let's do a Zoom instead of meeting in person because it's illegal. So
I mean, I think there's going to be some, even though it's really annoying, and like I said, like we've got to reopen soon and that stuff. And this is for a different conversation, but I think it allowed us to all be able to have to take a step back and have to learn how to relax and like have a little bit more free time. I mean, you know, being able to even just read a book for hours, you know, with like no interruptions. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that back in the day. And where's my wine, Sarah? We just got a message. You know what?
Look at that.
Maybe later. I mean, like I don't want to drink every single day, you know, either. So like a couple days off, then I'll have like but you know, just to go back to you know, leaving the 9-to-5 job and how you looked at the financials, aside from like cash flow. You know, I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that I did is I made sure to buffer all of my accounts. So like if my tenants all at once couldn't pay, am I able to continue?
Yeah.
Or am I gonna like have to get, like I don't want to have to go back and get a job, you know what I mean? So that was a big important piece. We just wanted to make sure that all the accounts were buffered, that like if something happens and we have an account or like a tenant, for example, that maybe if they can't pay for a certain amount of time, we got to go to the board, like knock on wood, that hasn't happened yet. But we want to make sure that like we're not dipping into our stuff in order to support that other tenant, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's someone asking, would you recommend Oreo for a rookie real estate investor? Yeah, absolutely. There's great content.
I recommend rightclub.com.
Yes. Well, that was my next thing. Oreo, I mean, if you want to do the local connections, and then the Right Club, of course. But
yeah, it's nationwide, so why would you take advantage? And there's so many free
events, yeah. So if you're on a budget, there you go. So we have lots of free, and we will have sometimes we do have paid events, but
there's a lot of great content.
Yeah.
And once a week, it's something free, coast to coast. So check out the rightclub.com, go to the events calendar tab, and register for our free webinars. I mean, you know, every single event is different. Speakers are different. Topics are different. I think we actually have one on Wednesday. And then we've got one on the, you know, I feel like we have like 3 more this month.
Yeah, later this month. And we have Eastern Ontario. So we have an event focusing on Ottawa, and we've expanded. We've gone to Gatineau and Montreal and different, like, Cornwall and different cities in Eastern Ontario. So for those tuning in that area.
And like you said, Sarah, the variety is so like surprising. Like there's so much different content about like the subjects are unbelievably.
Yeah, we even covered Yukon and Northwest.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I didn't even know that people like lived out there.
Fort St. John,
BC. There's a huge.
Russell's always telling me about cities and places. I'm like, I didn't even know that existed.
But it is interesting actually to understand like the investor world out that way, right? Like what the prices are, what the cash, like what the opportunities are like, because they're so different to what we're used to down here. So in order to wrap it up, if one thing that let's just each maybe go through one thing that you would recommend somebody that's thinking about leaving their 9 to 5 job before they do so, what would that be? So maybe, Francois, we can start with you. Piece of advice for an investor that is about to leave or give their notice. What is something that they should do before they do that?
Whoa, yeah, that's a tough one. Well, you kind of covered it. So the finances, of course, refinance, pull out, apply for all the credit. So we were on a podcast interview. I'm going to steal the punch there. Austin Ye applied for all the lines of credits he could just before, I think, leaving or something. So 1 week you go to on a crazy credit spree and you apply for everything because your credit will dip. So, and you're losing you're quitting your job. So that's one huge thing. Yeah, I'd say it's really the finance. And then mentally as well, you mentioned your calendar. To me, that's been a bit of a struggle too. It's a bit weird, like, okay, I'm at home, and then how do you manage your calendar yourself? That's something different. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Jen?
Well, I think the one thing that kind of reassured Francois before he quit his 9 to 5 was actually the opposite of what you said. Was, am I still employable if this doesn't work out?
And I actually got job offers.
So I got job offers. I'm like, you're totally employable. If this doesn't work out, we'll figure it out. You'll get a job if you have to.
Yeah.
So I think that was one thing that kind of reassured him. It kind of like took away the fear of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great piece of advice. I think for mine is just ensure you understand where the cash flow is coming from. Plan for the downside because at some point it will happen. And what does the worst case scenario look like? And then just keep sticking to your plan and just make sure that you leave on good terms if you leave. But I will say it just opens up a whole new realm of new opportunities. So on that note, guys, thanks for doing our Monday
FAQ, whatever.
Back in next Monday, 7:30, guys. Tune back in.
Yes.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Bye.